media.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. The Liberals, mainly Justin Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland, are imploding. The Liberal Party is imploding. The current polls are telling a story that, again, the Liberals are in a position where they're probably going to actually end up trailing behind the NDP when it comes time to our next election. Now, there are rumblings going on within the realm of politics that, again, people like the CBC, CTV Global, all the paid, shilled prostitutes of the media want to say, hey, Justin's just fine. People are still going to vote for the Liberals in the next election, that we're not going to have any issues. But a lot is telling when you look at body language. And what we're seeing lately, especially after our live stream where we talked about the treason that's going on in the country, the corruption when it comes to McKinsey, when it comes to Chinese interference, when it comes to MPs or representatives that are essentially compromised, and a lack of arrests. As I said in that live stream, even the video that aired before it, that once the mainstream prostitutes start covering these subjects, that's when you know this is huge. That's when you know this isn't going to be something that they let go. They realize that the writing is on the wall, and I think that they're starting to report on this or go more aggressive with it because they don't have a choice. Now, you're starting to see in interviews, like this one here with Chrystia Freeland, some really weird behavior, and I want to get into it a little bit as the video goes. I'm going to pause momentarily, but of course, they start to get into a couple of questions that go on, and then, of course, Chrystia Freeland runs out of the interview, doesn't want to answer any questions. Let's take a look. I do want to commentate, though, about halfway through. Let's take a listen.
You said before that you were not targeting this particular motion at making the Conservatives sort of take a side, but you also, even earlier today, you talked about this as not being a partisan issue. So how come you're suggesting that this is not actually going after the Conservatives to force them to take a position by making this a standalone Ways and Means motion?
Thank you for the question. It's not unusual for a major tax measure like this one to be put forward in standalone legislation. That's quite ordinary practice. And I do think it's an important political moment for Canada and for Canadians. We do think this is an important time for our country. It's an important time because we need investments, and it's an important time for us all to take a stand on how we feel those investments should be financed. And as I said in my opening remarks, I do think this is a moment when Canadians should be watching closely what happens in the House and watching closely to see how all MPs vote on this, I would say, defining measure.
Right there. That's where I wanted to jump in. Do you notice the twitching? Look, Chrystia Freeland has a reputation of being the twitchy witch of the WEF. God, try saying that 10 times fast. But what we're seeing here is this is deep, deep anxiety. She is overwhelmed. I'm willing to bet she just went through one of the most stressful weekends of her career. Not just because, hey, it's another scandal. This is groundbreaking, what's going on when we talk about foreign interference. The Conservatives basically have this next election in the bag, provided that they don't do anything radical to alter the polls or there isn't a major scandal within the party. And the Liberals really are a sinking ship. They're trying to do whatever they can to convince people that their word salad actually means something, that they're capable of doing their jobs, which we know they're not. But you can see it here with her anxiety, that she's hitting her limits. She is crumbling. Now, I've showed video clips before of her prior to being Deputy Prime Minister, prior to her being an MP for the Liberal Party, back when she was just a journalist and an author, and she was on Bill Maher back in the day. And of course, she was much more relaxed, much more toned out. You didn't see the twitchiness. You didn't see the little quips that she has in terms of what I call a tick. But you can see it here when the people start asking the questions. I'll replay it real quickly, like how quickly she tenses up. This is where body language is very important to look at. They're done. This is Chrystia Freeland with nowhere left to hide. It's not like the Freedom Convoy where she's got everybody on her side, where she can convince people that, hey, we're going to freeze bank accounts or we're going to do all these wonderful, wonderful things to help Canadians because these terrible, terrible people. No, this is a time where even those who are paid to lie and shill for the Liberals are asking questions because, quite frankly, they have no other choice.
On how we feel those investments should be financed. And as I said,
Here it comes. Here it comes. Watch the twitchy.
I do think this is a moment when Canadians should be watching closely what happens in the House and watching closely to see how all MPs vote on this, I would say, defining measure.
On the fiscal responsibility, Minister, you mentioned one option would be adding to the debt, and you didn't want to do that. But your own department put out a report saying that the deficit is tracking to be $10 billion higher than your fiscal anchor of $40 billion. I know there's year-end adjustments to be made, but are you confident that will bring it back to target, or are you going to miss your fiscal anchor for the deficit?
You've answered your own question, Bill, when it comes to the year-end adjustments and the fiscal monitor. It's quite normal for there to be year-end adjustments.
Soyons clairs, tentez-vous de faire mal paraître les conservateurs avec votre mesure?
Pour moi, c'était important d'être juste et d'être clair. Et c'est pour cette raison que j'ai cité l'histoire du Premier ministre Brian Mulroney et l'histoire du Premier ministre John Diefenbaker. Et je crois vraiment, et l'histoire du Canada démontre, que ce ne doit pas être une mesure partisane. Je pense que c'est une mesure que chaque Canadien et Canadienne, chaque député qui croit que la responsabilité fiscale est importante, qui croit que les investissements dans le Canada et les Canadiens sont nécessaires et qui croit que l'équité fiscale est importante, chaque député doit appuyer cette motion. Je suis ici avec les chers collègues de mon caucus. Je sais que nous tous appuyons ces mesures. Et demain, on verra comment vont voter tous les autres députés.
On NSCOP, will the Liberals support the motion to expand the terms of reference of the public inquiry to include allegations that parliamentarians wittingly collaborated with foreign governments?
It's a really important question. It's a really important issue. All of us take foreign interference very seriously.
So, of course, you're the Liberal Party of Canada, in which case, no, you don't.
The Minister of Public Safety will be available later today to answer all of your questions on that issue. Okay?
What are your plans for that? That was 3 questions and a half.
And there she goes running off, and you can see even the press making comments as she walks away, completely flabbergasted that Chrystia Freeland just exits the room so abruptly. But again, when they start talking about the compromised people in the House of Commons, when it comes to foreign interference, when it comes to all this pressure that's on the Liberal Party, of course, they don't want to answer anything. It's kind of like pleading the fifth. They just want to get up, leave, walk away. And I'm going to have other stories about some MPs that we actually know at this point that are compromised beyond the shadow of a doubt, with receipts. So things are going to heat up as the weeks go on. Again, even going into summer while Parliament takes a break, we're going to see a lot of information, I feel, coming out against this corruption, against how compromised our government actually is. Now, let's be honest. We all know that our government has been compromised for a very long time. This isn't a surprise, but in terms of this Liberal government, we've heard rumblings about Marco Mendicino. We've heard about Bill Morneau. We've heard about people that have already stepped down from the Liberal Party facing accusations of Chinese corruption. But even Justin Trudeau showing a little bit of weird behavior. Not that it's uncommon for him, while he was in Quebec talking about, I guess, funding for Quebec or whatnot. But the important thing here is the weird behavior of this press conference. Now, usually, I know anytime I've had an MP on the show, anytime that I reach out to them, their schedules are pretty much organized by their handlers, by their assistants, by a team that plan out where they're going to be, when they're going to be there. So in this situation, now call me skeptic. I'm just making an observation here, but Justin Trudeau's in the middle of a conference answering questions, and then all of a sudden saying he has to vote on something all of a sudden in the middle of this conference, and then walking out abruptly again. Now, I feel that some of this has to do with the fact that some questions may come up again about political interference. And Justin Trudeau, of course, trying to get away. He, of course, was hiding in question period ever since this news came out. He doesn't want to show his face in the House of Commons. Now, again, this is speculation, but take a look at the behavior here and tell me if this is normal during a live press conference.
One of the things that Mr. Legault, I know you've mentioned in French that Mr. Legault is playing to his audience in creating this committee of 6 persons to look for more autonomy for Quebec within the Federation. But the committee itself includes a number of experts who are very good at finding holes, loopholes, and gaps in the Canadian Constitution and inserting things, as they've done a couple of times, as they did last year. How bulletproof is the Constitution for people that want to challenge it and look for ways to get into it and affirm Quebec's rights within the Constitution?
I think it's one of the richnesses of a federation and a constitution that people can have really robust conversations about how we improve our democracy, how we improve our country, and have real conversations about how to better meet the needs of today. So there's nothing inherently threatening about a province deciding to look at ways of improving our democracy. I know Mr. Legault is under a fair bit of pressure from the PQ right now, and he'll make the decisions he's focused on. My focus will continue to be to work constructively with partners across orders of government to deliver concretely for citizens. I have to vote right now. So, okay.
Vote for what?
It's voting on Bill C-20.
Bill C-20.
That picture.
Against the particular piece of this. Vous allez voir, c'est ça, démocratie en action.
So I'm just going to lower the volume while he's doing this. So he's voting on Bill C-20 in the middle of a press conference.
C'est pas un selfie, c'est un logiciel de reconnaissance qui nous permet de voter à travers le pays à la Chambre des communes. Ça c'est fait. Voilà. Merci. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. No follow-up? Okay, no follow-up.
And there's what bizarre behavior. Now, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Don't say, hey, you're grasping at straws. He's just having to do a vote. He got maybe a little tied up. This was a 20-minute press conference where, again, usually his handlers tell the press in advance, this is the time limit. We know what's going on. We know what's going to happen. Usually a assistant will signal to whoever's speaking up there. And again, this is just what I witnessed when I was in Ontario, when I was invited out to Ottawa, that they're pretty much on the ball when it comes. Now, these things do happen. Slip-ups happen. I'm not going to say they don't. But what's weird about it is that Justin really, like, he does his vote, and then he just abruptly goes, no follow-up, no follow-up. Okay, great, see ya, and walks right out the door. He doesn't even really wait for anybody to answer about a follow-up. He just simply leaves. Now, that's the bizarre behavior. And again, another example, I feel, again, could be observation, just could be a mistake on my part. But when you look at between him and Freeland, when you look at any time they've been approached since this information came out about foreign interference, they just don't want to talk to anyone about it. And rightfully so. This is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Canadians are mad. The press is mad. Our entire system has been compromised and flipped on its head. And again, we knew in the public, we've always known that there's entities at play. We've seen it in the United States elections. We've seen it in Canada elections. But again, this is going to be very interesting to watch, even over the summer break in Parliament, what news comes out, what information gets leaked, what the Conservatives do to push back. I know Stephanie Cousy, as well as other Conservative MPs that I'm in touch with, have been putting forward motions to not only investigate McKinsey, but to investigate what is going on here when it comes to unveiling lists for foreign interference. So again, what comes out during the summer, I think it's going to be a busy summer in politics, regardless whether or not our politicians are at the helm in Ottawa. Let me know what you guys think down below. Is it bizarre behavior? Am I drawing straws with Justin Trudeau's behavior? Let me know what you think down below. But it's just weird that two Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister both just abruptly run away from their press conferences. Let me know your thoughts down below. If it's your first time here, make sure if you're enjoying the video to click the subscribe button and join our large Fringe majority here on the channel. Also, click your bell for notifications and join us for our live show every Friday here, Friday Night Fringe at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central. Had almost 1,500 people watching live last Friday. It would be great to see those numbers continue. I know everybody had a great time in last week's stream. It'd be great to see you guys out there each and every Friday. I always look forward to hearing what you guys have to say in those live streams, as well as show you a little bit of what's coming up in the news and things that we've already discussed, and maybe have a roundtable discussion on those things. So I look forward to seeing each and every one of you there again every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, right here on the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.